Work is the product of the component of a force along the direction of displacement and the magnitude of the displacement. Simply put, work is performed when an object moves in the direction at which the force is applied. To further explain work, we're going to go through situations that explain when work is being performed and when work is not being performed. A book falls off a table and free falls to the ground is an example of work because the force of gravity is working down on the book and the book has a negative displacement. And because both the force and the displacement are negative, work is being performed on the object. A person applies a force to a wall and becomes exhausted. This is not an example of work because although the person is applying a force to the wall does not move. And in order for something to have performed work, it's got to have displacement and force. A rocket accelerates through space is an example of work because the force being applied from the exhaust pipes causes the rocket to displace up in the direction of which the force pushed it. A person walking and carrying a bucket is not an example of work because the force being applied is going up because you're holding up the bucket, and although the bucket is moving horizontal, the force that's being applied to the bucket is not making the displacement, so the displacement and the force are not in the same direction, which means work is not being performed. When you push open a door, you are performing work because the door where you push in the direction is going to be opened in the direction at which the force you applied. So the force and the displacement are in the same direction, which means you are performing work. In this situation, you have a guy who's carrying a box and walking with it, and you have a guy who is pushing the box across the ground. One is work and the other is not. When someone carries and walks with the box, it is not work because the force is holding up, the force being applied on the box is holding it up, and the person is walking horizontally, so the force and the displacement are not in the same direction. And the guy who's pushing the box across the ground is performing work because the force is pushing horizontally and the displacement is horizontally, so they're both parallel to each other, which means work is being performed.
We're going to find work, and the formula for work is force times distance times cosine of theta and is measured in joules. The situation is a person pushing a block 10 meters at 30 newtons, and it is 0 degrees because it's horizontal, and there's your variables right there that you pull out. And then here's the equation. You have 30 times 10 times 1, which equals 300 joules. Work equals 300 joules. Peace out.